All right, a couple things as we go through here. Air and Space Forces Association, who we are, what we do, education, advocacy, and support. The same people who started the United States Air Force in 1947, they actually in 1946 started the Air Force Association. Because between the wars, we divested everything. We got rid of planes, pilots, all of our capabilities. When the Second World War started, they had to start from the ground up. And they said, that sucks. Let's not do that again. Let's have somebody who can talk to Congress, who can advocate for us, who can be our voice. And that's how the Air Force Association, now the Air and Space Forces Association, got started. That's who we are and what we do. Mama, John's here representing our wonderful partners. There you go, that's good. Mr. Mary Lamparter sitting here at the table. It's always great to have you, sir. Our Ambassador Janina is not with us today, but hi Rick, how are you? All right, I'm not even going to try. Elected officials around the room, hands up please. We go, thank you, wow, great. Appreciate your service. All right, my team. Mike, you look really good in your shirt. So Mike McDonald, Government Relations. Ron, I'm not even going to try and say last names and everything today. Ron runs all of our website and everything else, so if the registration's messed up, blame him. Ray, membership in the back. Rick, joining our team on the executive committee, also in the back. Kim, community relations over here. Why is everybody standing in the back? Okay. My wonderful vice president and the lead down in Ann Arbor, Carl. You can raise your hand, yes, Carl Berry. All right, Jeremy, back over here with the wonderful looking hat on. Jeremy helps us with membership. I think joining our team next to him, the first time I met him today, is Max, retired chief from the Air Force. Tim, you're sitting down, hiding right there. Has always helped us out on the money side of things in the Treasury. Who have I missed on our team? All right, our wonderful sponsors. If we go around the room here, Brian on our team is also a sponsor. That's fantastic. Rick and Paula. Rick's back there with his camera up above his head. Once again, Rick's part of our team, but then they're also Velocity, one of our wonderful partners. You want? Put me in front of that, and I don't want that. Oh, wait, I'm not through everybody. Ray from Belfour, I know you're here. Thank you for being a great ambassador, as always, with Belfour Restoration. AEW, we've got AEW in the house, okay, over here. Wayne, Steve, thank you for being here. I think that's it. Nobody from Sawyer, MCM. No, but if you're interested in being a sponsor, and I'm going to show you in a minute what wonderful sponsors enable us to do.
Your ladies, you forgot your ladies. You forgot your...
Oh, Di?
Yeah.
And Danielle.
Excuse me, I'm just saying.
Oh. You're just so much a part of us that, you know, okay, we'll run with that. But I think you're still our newest sponsor on that. So the freshest paint up here is still drying. So thank you so much. Tamara, this is you, right? Your slides? Yes.
Yep. Oh.
Come on up here. You want me to talk it? You look like you weren't going to walk up here. Tamara.
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with me here. So my Cyber Patriot program, Michigan Cyber Patriot program, we're kind of the only one in the country that's doing it by state. I work on trying to recruit more kids into this program. It's middle school and high school kids, and we work from, they have a season from October until March. In fact, next week is finals, and we finally have a Michigan team in finals. So normally, surprised as you, we worked really hard for the last 9 years on this program, building this program across the state, and I sort of threw down the beginning of the season with my teams and my mentors and my coaches and said, hey, we need somebody from Michigan being in nationals. And by goodness they did it. So I'm hoping that, as you can see the big sign that says donate today, hopefully folks, I can get some folks that can donate to us so that we can have, we also have a state award ceremony that no one else has because the AFA, they give out certificates for state winners. But because I'm trying to grow this program across the state, we started out with 4, we have 187 teams now, over 50 schools. But that's a drop in the bucket because those folks that are going to nationals all the time, California, Texas, Colorado, the Beltway areas, they have much, much more teams playing, and they play year-round, and they take it real, real seriously. And these kids are prepared for life when they come out of the program. It's a really great program, really easy to implement, and we need your help to make sure that we can spread it across the state. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you for being part of the AFA. It's just wonderful. Cyber Patriots is just one of the many different programs that AFA has out there. You can learn a whole lot more. Join, or simply go to afa.org and you can read about that. Stellar Explorers and a lot of the great things we do, including our Teachers of the Year, which neither of them are here, but I'll show you a picture in a minute. Now, sponsors help us do really cool things. One of the great things the other day, we have about 1,400 members of the AFA across the state of Michigan. In one day, we added 70. All right, the way we did that, that's cool, thank you. Because of the wonderful ROTC. We have 3 ROTC detachments here in the state, one all the way up in Houghton, and then at State, and then at the U of M. We worked with National to give us a discounted rate. We worked with the cadets who are on contract who aren't already part of the AFA, and we offered them scholarship memberships, AKA free for them. All right, but that's what our sponsors allowed us to do, and we added 70 in one day. So they get a free membership, but that's thanks to you. All right, there's a lot of things going on. I want to just give you a quick little rundown as we go forward. Normally, month to month, I wouldn't be able to tell you what our next event was going to be. I think we're finally getting ahead of the power curve on this just a little bit, okay? Next week, our first ever virtual event. We have Claire Lopez who's going to be talking to us. She 20 plus years in the CIA and has had at least 15 years then as a private analyst, national security. She's going to be talking to us. Her area of expertise is Iran. All right, so she's going to talk to us a little bit about our friends in Iran and what's going on there and the conflicts, and she'll have an insight, expertise that few in this country have. The next week, down in Ann Arbor, he actually is here a lot of the times in our meetings here, but Greg Gonier is going to talk. He was an F-117 squadron commander, one of the first operational stealth fighter aircraft. He was a squadron commander during the first Gulf War of one of those squadrons. He's going to talk about the program, how it was developed. There's a lot of things about it I'll bet you don't know. So it's pretty cool. In fact, it was kept in the black. We didn't even know about it for the longest time. And when we get a chance to talk, he will eventually be up here talking also. But this is 2 weeks from today down in Ann Arbor for lunch. The next week, another virtual. So we have 4 events. Remember how Selfridge was talking about trying to get a future fighter? One of them was the F-15EX. Well, the people from Boeing are going to be on a virtual presentation and tell us all about this ain't your grandma's fighter jet and why the F-15EX is a real game changer when it comes to some of the capabilities of our Air Force. So they're going to talk about the airplane, the program, and they're actually having great success selling these overseas. But they're going to talk about that. All on a virtual on the 28th of March. And we've got April and May planned too. All right, so you can put all this stuff on. Yeah, go figure. So up north, we have the training center at Alpena. These are the people that help with the Grayling Ranges, the airspace, and everything that ties all these Michigan equities and the All-Domain Warfighting Center together. 18th of April is the anniversary of the Doolittle Raid. I think we talked about this before. They always got together, the survivors, and did a toast with their cognac and all. The last of the Doolittle Raiders has officially passed away at this point. We're going to continue on with that tradition. We're going to do a toast. It's going to be virtual. I don't care what you toast with, but we're going to talk about the Doolittle Raid, what they did, and everything on the 18th of April. The next, down in Ann Arbor, from the U of M Medical Center, as well as working with the VA, an expert on suicide prevention with our veterans. So we're going to be talking about mental health as well as our medical system for the VA. Then we're going to have back up here the presentation on the F-117 on the stealth in early May, and then the 110th wing that was up here before is going to go talk down in Ann Arbor, talking about cyber command and control, and then the RPA, the drones, they don't call them drones, RPA mission. So they'll be down in May at Ann Arbor. So you have it on your calendars now. All right, if you're not signed up for our emails, let us know. I talked about our Teachers of the Year. This is this year's I guess last year's Teacher of the Year for us, Colleen. This is actually this week. She's down doing the zero-G flight with the NASA. She's been going to some of these space camps. This is the plane that flies up and then pitches over and they float and everything else. And then they'll barf because they're not used to it. But you know, that will happen. So she's going to be floating and barfing and everything. That's the before picture. I can't wait to see the after picture. All right. All right, just real quick, I'm finishing up. Aerospace education. I just want to introduce you to some, you know, I never really talk about things that go on at the national level. Orville has been the president for the last 4 years of the Air Force Association. This week was his last week. He has formally stepped down now as the president of the organization, and they have not announced who his replacement is going to be yet. But that should be within the next couple weeks.
So when are you getting your phone call?
Yeah, right. Carl will vote for that. Bernie, he ran, was a cyber patriot, right? He's the
He was the original.
patriarch of that whole, patriarch of that whole thing. He is now the chairman of the board. So he runs the board that oversees everything. Technically, the president works for him, if you know how that kind of stuff runs. But Bernie's a wonderful individual. Chris Canada is the vice president for field operations. An all-volunteer position. He's retired Air Force. What you can't see in that picture is his ponytail. So I wanted to take a vote. Should I grow a ponytail?
Sure.
No.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
It would look like a donut with a... No, all right. But Chris, wonderful. We'll probably see him this summer. He's going to come up for one of our summer events, whether it's the airplanes, tanks, and tacos, or our big picnic, or one of those. He's going to come up, and you'll get to have a chance to meet Chris. Carrie Volova runs the professional side. She's a paid employee who does the field relations. She is the Chief Joy Officer for the Air Force Association. I don't remember her exact title, but it's something with joy, happiness, whatever. And she's a wonderful bundle of energy in everything she does, helping us out. Now, ROTC, does that scare anybody else? We're going to talk about ROTC today, and I get to introduce you to some wonderful folks, but my introduction is, this is how I became an Air Force officer. I went through this program. When I was in college, I went through ROTC, just like the experiences you're going to hear today, and I had hair. Maybe, a little bit at the time. But that was a picture of me as a cadet. That was my summer training. They're going to talk a little bit about when you go between your sophomore and your junior year. It's been, I don't know how many weeks it is now. I was in Charleston for my summer camp, and I can remember I never dried off the entire time I was there. It was summer, it was hot, and honestly, never ever, I could take a shower, doesn't matter, I was always wet for the entire time I was there. But you can see the signatures and everything else still around there. Wonderful. And then, of course, it all culminates when you raise your hand and say, I do solemnly swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, blah, 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 and you take the oath to become, in this case, a second lieutenant. That's my mom, my dad hitting on the rank. It's always cool. That's how many days away? You have it down clicking, right? 58 days away, so fantastic. So with that being said, it is my honor to introduce our wonderful partners, our friends, starting off with Lieutenant Colonel, I don't think I've ever called you that.
No, you haven't.
Bubba. All right, so Bubba is with us. He is the detachment commander. And if you notice, he's got a caterpillar on his lip.
It's March.
It's March. And if you haven't, if you don't remember that whole story, this goes back to Robin Olds. Mustache March is an Air Force tradition. You start off the last day of April, clean-lipped. Into March, it's a contest. Whose is the biggest, baddest, best? It has been an Air Force tradition for a long time. He's keeping that going right here. It looks a little weird. It's growing in. He's doing okay. But it's part of the Air Force tradition. So Bubba, your team, the cadets that we have with us today, please take the stage and tell us about how we grow our future leaders.
Awesome. All right, well, first, big thanks to Odie and Carl for inviting us to come out here. Just what an awesome opportunity to talk about what we do as the Air Force ROTC, building Air Force and Space Force leaders. And what's awesome is I'm going to be here, I'm going to be brilliant, be brief, and be gone, and really let you guys hear from the cadets that are really running the program.
A little closer.
Excellent. How about that? That's better.
There you go.
You said talk louder, and I'll just bring it closer. There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to be brief, be brilliant, be gone, and then so we're going to start kind of big picture. We're going to talk about, here we go. I'm going to do the overview of the Air Force ROTC program. Then we're going to let the cadets introduce themselves. So we've got a couple of seniors, we got a junior and a sophomore here to talk to you. They're really going to take over the program, talking after that about how we build it here at Detachment 390 in the University of Michigan. And then we'll kind of conclude there. So first, what do? We are building the best leaders that the Air Force has. We are, what's that? That's right. So there's 3 commissioning programs. You can go through the Air Force Academy, and they're building about 800 lieutenants per year. You can go through the OTS, the Officer Training School, but then you can go through ROTC. And ROTC is the largest commissioning program that we have. So we're building about 60% of the officers per year. And at the Detachment 390, we're building about 10 per year. And actually this year, in this fiscal year, we're building 15. And that's growing every year, which is awesome. Across the United States, we've got about 145 detachments. And 3 of them are here in Michigan. So we got great partnerships with Michigan State and up there with Michigan Tech, who are also now parts of the AFA, and it's great to partner with them. We're recording this so they can see this and kind of test running this, so as we do things in the future, they can continue to feel a part of what we're doing here too. At Det 390, we are a University of Michigan, but we've got 9 crosstown universities. So they're going to get their degree from their cross university, but they're going to feed into what we're going to do, and you're going to see kind of what the parts that is, and how much weight and effort that is for them to drive, sometimes an hour away, one way, to come down to Michigan and be part of our program there. All right, so ROTC, we break this down into a couple of different regions. We're in the Northeast region, and this is mostly the same kind of stuff there, but yep, 145 detachments. So the important piece really is going to college is expensive. And at University of Michigan, if you're out of state going to U of M, it's about $60,000 per year to go to school there. So it is really important that we can find a way to pay for that tuition for our cadets. There's really 2 kind of ways. We've got a Type 1 scholarship, which is a full ride scholarship. And there's a Type 2 that's about $18,000 per year. So for your youth, your kids, your grandkids, your nieces and nephews that are interested in getting their university education paid, come talk to us and we can help them through that process. Most of our cadets are getting their tuition paid through the high school scholarship program. And that is, we give an interview process there. They'll come talk to us. So wherever they are, there's a university close to them, they'll talk to their detachment there. There's also the in-college scholarship program. So after they come to our program for a year, they can come talk to us and they can get the last 3 years paid for through a scholarship there. What's unique to us is that every detachment has 2 golden tickets that we can give out. One for a high school scholarship program, that's the full ride scholarship that I can give out. But also there's a 3-year scholarship that I can give out as well. So besides the full tuition for a Type 1 scholarship, they're also, cadets are going to get $900 per year for books and then a monthly stipend. So they're going to get paid to come and do ROTC through that scholarship there. Other scholarships that we have flight scholarships. So most of our cadets, you guys, getting flight scholarships. I don't think any of you guys are. But we have 3 right now of our juniors that are going and getting their flight paid for at where is it? They're doing crosswinds, they're doing solo aviation, a couple different places, learning to get their private pilot's license through the You Can Fly Scholarship. There's also a couple other ways through Junior ROTC Flight Academy and the Aim High Flight Academy. There's a bunch of different ways that our students can learn how to fly. So the ROTC program kind of as a whole, each year it kind of builds on itself. So as our freshmen and sophomores are learning how to be, what is the Air Force traditions with the Air Force history, what are some small team tactics there, they're building up into go to field training, which is what one of the pictures that Odie had up there. Field training, as you can think of, is kind of like the basic training, but instead of going to basic training and just being told what to do, they're there to learn to lead and to exercise some of their leadership principles that they've learned throughout the year. After they come out of field training, they're going to be upperclassmen, and those upperclassmen, which is, we have a bulk here, are then going to run the program to teach the freshmen and sophomores to get ready for field training and ready to be officers. As juniors then, as they're building the program, they're learning large organization leadership kind of principles. Their junior year and then their senior year, they're really digging into what is some national security strategy, joint operations. For the fall semester and the final semester before they commission, they're learning what's all the little programs that are out there to help their airmen and help them survive in the Air Force, right? What does a Force Support Squadron do? They're learning what finance is, how to run a budget, that kind of thing, their very last semester. All right, so overall, after they complete the program, their 4-year program, they're going to have to serve 4 years. If you get into a rated position, if they're going to be a pilot or an RPA, a remote pilot officer, they're going to serve 6 to 10 years. So that's the payback for the scholarship they're going to get. So kind of depending on their career, it's going to put them on a path. So what we're looking for is about 80% of our students are going to be the technical engineers, that kind of thing. About the other 20% are non-tech. We try to align what their education is into the Air Force career that they're kind of trying to go for. Doesn't always work out, but as you'll hear from these guys, it did work for a bulk of them. So these are the different career opportunities that they have inside the Air Force. The ones that are in bold are the ones that we have seniors graduating this year. So across the pilot, RPA, space operations, cyber operations, logistics readiness, chemist, and we have a medical and a, developmental engineer. Quite a bit of you guys are developmental engineers, actually. So those are the careers that they're going to be doing across the Air Force. All right, so that's enough of me giving the overview of what ROTC is. Really what you guys want to hear is from the cadets, from their perspective, what is it like to be in the program, to run the program, and to test their leadership mettle, test leadership mettle. Let's see how it goes. All right, over to Cadet Young. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, this works easy. I'm Cadet Owen Young. I am a senior studying computer science and Japanese language at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and I'm commissioning in May doing cybersecurity in the Space Force, which I'm super excited for. And I'm currently the detachment's Cadet Delta commander. Rather than your Air Force wings, we're going to rock with the Space Force Delta this semester. And so how did I get into ROTC? I was a military kid. My dad's on like 28 years in the Navy this year. So I've moved around a lot. Never really thought it was for me. I liked my super long hair in high school and was kind of hoping to stick around with that. But then junior, senior year, I saw a lot of friends go into Air Force Academy, Naval Academy, ROTC, AFROTC, and it was kind of like, oh, this is like a real thing. I can get college paid for. I can have a guaranteed job for 4 years, which in the computer science job market is really nice right now. I can have a little tick that says I'm a veteran for the rest of my career. This is a really cool opportunity. Oh, hello. It's a really cool opportunity for high schoolers to kind of start their career in a really stable way. And I landed here. And since I've been here, the culture of the team, at Michigan we like to talk the team. The culture of the team built in the military has been really impactful and made the military a really, really cool setting to be in. So I'm excited to finish out my semester here and go see what's going on in the big 10,000 person Space Force. But I'll hand next to my predecessor, Thomas Rusley.
All right, good morning everybody. I'm Thomas Rusley. I am a senior. I'm studying material science. I'm a Frisco, Texas native, home of the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out. I'm going to be a developmental engineer in the Air Force once I graduate. Like Owen mentioned, I ran the wing last semester before he changed it to a Delta. A little piece about how I got into AFROTC. It's I mostly did it in the beginning for myself. Again, like Colonel Aaron said, it's very expensive to go to college, and I needed to figure out a way to fund my running 1,100 miles away from home to go to Michigan. But as I worked my way through the program, all the lessons I've learned, all the personal growth I've undergone, and then as I became a junior and senior, getting to have a part, even a small part, in the growth and development of future leaders has been super impactful. And I've been very grateful to be a part of that. I'm going to pass it to Chris Benson.
Well, my name is Chris Benson. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm much happier to be out here. Yeah, well, a little about me. I'm studying aerospace engineering up at U of M, and I'll be joining the Space Force later, going back to Vandenberg for space operations training. Right, here's a couple of positions I've held. Honestly, I've been very grateful to be part of AFROTC. There's a lot of things that I learned here, organizational skills, a lot of hard skills and communication skills that I've been able to apply on different classes, project teams, as well as just my daily life in general.
Chris, a little closer.
Oh, thank you. And basically, I got into AFROTC because my dad did ROTC up at Central, right? He did the Army, but I'm going to do the Air Force, right? And so, he enjoyed his time out there. He eventually became on, was a tank commander in the Army, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I want to get my college paid for, and honestly, I've never looked back. So, yeah, fantastic opportunity. Again, a lot of opportunities I've had the pleasure of being with here. I used to be the color guard commander, and one of the opportunities I had there was presenting the colors in front of 60,000 people at Ford Field a couple years ago. So I'll pass it on to the next guy. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so my name's Mary Muter. I'm from Cass City, Michigan. If you don't know where that is, no problem. It's in the middle of nowhere. So I'm majoring in biochemistry, and I'm going to be a chemist in the Air Force, so that was super exciting. So my story to getting into AFROTC was a little bit different than everyone else here. So I joined halfway through my freshman year of college. I didn't know AFROTC was a thing, really, where I grew up. So I was thinking to myself, all right, I need a way to pay for college, because I was looking at my budget for the next 4 years, and I'm like, that's not gonna work out. So my dad actually served in the Air Force for a little bit, and he's like, that's the best branch to be in. So, so I decided to do AFROTC to prove to myself that I could do it and get a job after I graduated. But over the years, it's become more than just a way to pay for college. It's become a team of people. When I joined, I was able to join a group of people that really seemed to care about me and really wanted me to succeed, and that was crucial. And now I want to pass that off to younger cadets so they feel that they can succeed in life as well. So during my time in Michigan, it's just been wonderful. I'll pass it off to the next cadet.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alex Tambellis. I'm a junior studying aerospace engineering, and I don't have an SFSC yet, but I'm planning to do astronautical engineering, which is a shred out of developmental engineering.
Alex, I'm going to interrupt you real quick because I forgot when I did introductions, by the way. We have an ambassador with each of our ROTC detachments. He is on our executive committee, part of the AFA.
Wow. So I'm going to be down in Ann Arbor all the time if you guys come down. I'm from New York, so New York City, which is a little weird sometimes, but I'm always happy to be in Ann Arbor. AFROTC's been an interesting journey. I started off in high school not really doing anything in the military. I mean, I've had some family, but there wasn't too much exposure. In my sophomore year, I actually joined Civil Air Patrol, so that was actually more of an opening into what the military could offer, and from there, I applied to AFROTC, the high school scholarship program, got awarded that, got into U of M, and those two kind of worked out together, and that was it. I ran with that, and I've never looked back. I will be commissioning into the Space Force, and that whole process has been really interesting and really fun. It sent me to Space Systems Command. I've been to Vandenberg with Cadet Benson, so that's us. Well, he was there too at Space Launch Complex number 6 is where they launched Delta Heavy, and now the Falcon Heavy will be going there. I've done some other conferences, and it's been a great journey. Holding positions within the wing, the Delta now, and training the underclassmen is probably some of the best things you could do. Just seeing that growth and instilling that leadership is so rewarding, and is something that I hope that I could keep bringing all the way until I graduate and into the Space Force. With that, I'll bring it off to the next person.
Morning, everybody. I'm Ben DeGeer. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so not as different as some people, but not in Michigan. I'm studying computer science and electrical engineering, and I'm a sophomore, so of the people speaking, the only non-upperclassman, so I haven't held any positions in the wing or Delta. I hope to commission as a developmental engineer working on electrical systems in the Air Force. And how I got into ROTC, pretty similar to a few of the stories. I applied to the scholarship program, was accepted, and got into U of M. So being able to pay for U of M is a really nice thing. And But it was more than that. My dad was a Navy midshipman 35 years ago. He wouldn't like me staying that long. And so he kind of like opened the door as an opportunity to me, and I wanted to follow in that step, saw the opportunity. And then since being in, it's just been the relationships that have kept me in, made it such a positive experience. Being able to meet some of the best people you'll ever know, even the officers, enlisted, leaders we have, they inspire me to be a part of such a good organization, and that's why I've stayed in. So now I'll pass it off to Cadet Young to talk about what we do here.
So this is our cadet organization for the semester. Kind of hard to read any names, but that's me up top. So a notable feature here is we got the tree structure and then a couple rows. These rows are our underclassmen, and this kind of really delineates the nature in AFROTC that Colonel Lawrence mentioned, is that you have underclassmen, field training, upperclassmen. The upperclassmen up here do the training for the underclassmen. So we organize this tree structure however we need to get the things done that we need to get done. And they do fall into the tree structure, into our training flights, but really it's the upperclassmen moving the week to week, and the underclassmen are preparing to, one, fill our shoes. Cadets Gear will be filling our shoes next year. And also to prepare for field training because it does matter. Can I get a slide? So our week to week, we have a lot of things going on. This is a picture of our week to week calendar. It's pretty dense. We have some things that just the upperclassmen do to kind of make things move. Our mission planning and our Delta staff meeting are kind of a brief and debrief for what we're doing on the week. Physical training, voluntary extra training, leadership laboratory, and class. Those are the essentials for everyone. So what's it take? For underclassmen, the bare minimum is 6 hours a week. For upperclassmen, the bare minimum is like 8 or 9 hours a week. But really, with all the extra work people are putting in, it manifests as 7 to 8 for an underclassman and 10 to 15 for an upperclassman. So it's really a part-time job on top of your classes, on top of if you have an actual job, and whatever clubs or other things you may be a part of. So what's next? Lead Lab?
All right, so Leadership Laboratory, heretofore known as Lead Lab, is the meat and potatoes of what we do in AFROTC. It's where the magic happens. That's really what the training is. So it's 2 hours a week on Thursdays from 4 to 6. Throughout the day, you're gonna wear your uniform to your classes. So Thursdays are kind of our ROTC days. The actual content of Lead Lab runs a gamut from anything from marching around, learning how to fold your socks, make a bed, to learning expeditionary skills. You're learning how to navigate, how to do pace counts. And then the last piece, which I think is the most important for leadership development, is what we call group leadership projects. The military in real life in general is a very dynamic and changing set of situations, so we want to set up our cadets for success by putting them in dynamic and changing situations. And group leadership projects will give you a scenario, we'll give you a goal, and then we'll give you a set of challenges. Maybe your leader can't talk, maybe you have limited communication. We put you in non-ideal situations to see how you respond to the pressure and to see how you can adapt and overcome. Some of the pictures we've got here. So we've got marching around, we've got our dining out. I don't know if you recognize that guy.
Coolest speaker gift ever, by the way. The U of M helmet signed by some guy named Harbaugh. You can see the look on my face if you see that TV.
But basically, we want to teach our cadets how to think through these changing situations and kind of hone their leadership skills.
Okay, so if you watched the Air and Space Forces Association Warfare Symposium last month, you might have seen some of the senior leaders from Air Education and Training Command. They kind of give an overview of what we're doing. This part above here is a little over our heads, the shift to Airman Development Command. I don't know what that means. But from the superintendent at USAFA, right, what Thomas just said, we're teaching cadets how to think, not what to think. It's about hands-on experience. It's about learning how to be a leader, how to be a follower, how to work in a team. So what does that take? Again, part of our week-to-week, but also part of our semester-to-semester. The upperclassmen make 14 plans per semester, right? We have a 2-hour lead lab, so we've got 28 hours a semester to work with. And if you compare that to like a basic military training, that's a crazy short amount of time. I think we did the math on like the time you spend a week at field training is longer than the time you spend in lead lab during your first 2 years in the program. So we don't have a lot of time to work with, so we take our 14 plans, we take our weekly planning, preparation, debrief, and then things like weather happen, things like protest on campus happen that makes us, interferes with a reservation gets canceled, things come up, and we're all like fledglings in this whole leadership, but I'm sure you've all like experienced the rescheduling, and that's part of our week-to-week work. So Colonel Arns added the South China Sea door slide as kind of we're building the capacity to adapt to dynamic environments, which again, as the leaders at the Warfare Symposium said, that's what we're moving towards. That is what the military is moving towards. Officers and airmen, guardians capable of operating in these complex near-peer engagements. So next is more of our week-to-week.
So 2 hours a week, we've got PT, or physical training. This is all so that we can pass the PFA, or physical fitness assessment. So that's a 1.5 mile run, 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of sit-ups. But it's not all just getting ready for the PFA. We have a lot of fun at PT. So we've got our Halloween PT. We all wear Halloween costumes to PT and we get a workout in. We've got the Big House PT, where we just go and do a workout at the Big House. We've got the 9/11 stair climb. We do climb the stairs at the Big House. A lot of our PTs, at least one of the more fun ones, we do as a tri-service PT, so we invite Navy and Army to go with us, and we all PT together just to build that unit camaraderie. And PT is just a very good way for us to build camaraderie amongst ourselves and the 3 branches. Pass it off to the next cadet.
So what exactly is field training? Odie talked about his time there before, but it's sort of a mystery to people that don't know what it is. So it's about 19 days currently. It fluctuates between about 3 weeks, give or take some time. And that's at Maxwell Air Force Base. So again, not in South Carolina, but it is still super hot. 100 degrees like every single day, 90% humidity, you are always wet. So that includes things like Reveille Retreat, PT, combatives, drill and ceremonies, dining facility procedures, leadership reaction courses, confidence course, you name it, we have it. So here we have some moments from the confidence course. Here, some cadets, if they were selected to go on a helicopter ride tour around Maxwell and visit the Air Force. We have here the small arms course. This is TD0, where you're just getting yelled at as you get off the bus. Here's the Space Force doing Space Force things. And then we have, this is from Vigilant Warrior. So I'll go more into that later, but this is a simulated deployment scenario that some cadets will go through. Next slide, please. So, field training, how does this work? So this mainly begins during your field training preparation semester, or sophomore year, aka AS200s. It's a focus on drill, leadership, and really performing under pressure, right? The whole idea of at Maxwell at field training is it's high intensity, high stress, and it's an evaluatory, but at the same time training environment, right? The idea, again, it's not what to think, how to think. How can you react under pressure? How can you adapt to a dynamic situation while people are yelling at you, while things are going on, while there's an air horn, something like that going on? So, schedule events. You will wake up at 3:50 in the morning, usually by pounding on the door, or some blaring horn or something will wake you up. Head off to PT, breakfast, then you'll have your scheduled events. So again, that could be the confidence course, that could be CADM, that could be doing really anything. And then after that, you'll have lunch. You'll have your lunch, and then you'll have further events and briefings. So some events that we did, again, confidence course, or you might end up going to Squadron Officer School and sitting in a nice air-conditioned auditorium there, listening to a few briefings. From there, you'll go to dinner, and then lights out is at 8 p.m. Here's a photo from Reveille. So you get formed up in the morning, and you sit around, we raise the flag, do our ceremonies, and then you get off the drill pad and then head off to wherever you need to go. I'd say the biggest thing about field training is you get to interact and bond with cadets from all across the nation. Field training is split into different training sessions known as Maxwell. And each max will have around 400-ish cadets, and then you'll be split off into different flights, and those flights will consist of anywhere between 20 to 25 cadets. So you're going to be sitting with them the entire time in the OTS dorms, in the AFROTC dorms. You guys are going to be working together, building together, struggling together, and the whole idea is that this is like a microcosm of the larger AFROTC universe. So you'll get to talk with them, see what their experience is like, see what it is, and it's a fun time for cadets to interact and really grow as a team.
So during our time in AFROTC, we have the opportunity to do what are known as officer development trainings, or ODTs. So these are events that cadets can do voluntarily that add to and supplement their education during AFROTC. So the ones in bold here are the ones that we've actually had cadets be able to go to. So for example, USAFA Free Fall, USAFA Intro to Soaring, Special Warfare Orientation Course. Cadet DeGear was able to go to that. Next slide, please. So we have some more, just quite a few. Every cadet that's gone has never regretted going. They're just really great opportunities to build leadership skills, build other skills, and work as a team together in a different environment.
All right, next up is the extracurricular activities, right? So these are days, these are missions that we complete. We mostly plan for ourselves. Sometimes, like the Air Force Marathon, we just head down to Bright Pat and run a bunch of miles, right? Basically, these are extra things that we do outside of our 6 to 9 hours a week that are required, right? That just truly add to the experience, right? Dining out. Something I planned, never regretted. Doing a tri-service military ball with our partners at the Navy ROTC, Army ROTC, fantastic, right? One of the main things that we have our underclassmen do, as you can see in these photos right here, is a field leadership exercise. We usually go out to Fort Custer and do a confidence course, just basically teach them all about, as much as we can, the field training experience, right? One of the more influential partnerships, one of the more basically fantastic partnerships we have is with our local AFA. We have, Tim Bellis here, just kind of helping you guys out, reaching out, saying, hey, here's what we do and here's what the AFA can do for us as we enter the military later on. We've also partnered with our Civil Air Patrol junior ROTC, going to different high schools, being drill judges, right? Honestly, not a bad job for us next year.
Yeah, and in addition to being cadets in the Air Force, we're also students at the University of Michigan, and a huge part of that is the extracurriculars we're involved in there. U of M has so many. There's, I think, over 1,600, and they're basically divided into academic, athletic, and then other clubs. So on the academic side, we have cadets on project teams like Cadet Benson on CubeSat working on satellites, Cadet Timbelis on MFly working on unmanned aerial vehicles, so just ways to use their engineering skills there. I'm personally a member of the club cross country team, one of the athletic clubs, and a religious organization on campus, but all of these just serve to enrich our experience at U of M. They help us apply the lessons we learn in ROTC, where we can lead in these clubs, be under high pressure scenarios, and perform as a team, which is what being in the Air Force is all about. Next slide.
I got a club question.
Yeah.
Is anybody a member of the pro or anti-squirrel club?
Yeah, one of our AS200s is in the Pro Squirrel Club.
I'm anti.
Anti?
Anti.
All right, if you all don't know about it, you can ask about that later. It's a big thing down there with the big blues. Go ahead.
So, as Cadet Young was mentioning earlier, being in ROTC is a lot. We have, at minimum, 6 to 10 hours a week, depending on what grade you are. And then we're also full-time students, so that's a lot of time. People work part-time jobs, especially if you're not on scholarship. As we said, college is expensive. And especially for crosstowns too, all the traveling to and from, there's people with hour drives once a week each way. And then beyond that, we also are students at Michigan, so we like to go to football games, do all those events that you can do because you're a student at Michigan. And we have all of our clubs, community service, fundraising, and then just being a person, eating, sleeping. All of that takes time, and there's never enough time that I don't think, especially the people commissioning, think they'll ever have too much time as a lieutenant in the Air Force, so it's good practice for that. And a lot of our degrees are STEM, mostly, and that takes a lot of time. We even have a law student, so it goes to show you can do ROTC in several different ways. It's not just traditionally out of high school. Another one of our AS200s is a prior Marine, so he has that experience of, he has other priorities where he's working in the reserve. So there are a lot we have to balance, and it all just comes down to prioritizing and executing. So there are times when I'll have to prioritize my academics. I've got a big exam, I've got a big project due. I just have to focus on that. There are times I'll have to focus on ROTC. We have a really intense lead lab coming up, and I have to focus on that, have to study, have to prepare, have to work with my flight. And there are times when I just need to prioritize myself. I've been really stressed, I've been pushing. I just need that little break to work on myself. And being able to learn how to prioritize and then execute when I have those priorities is a huge lesson we all learn from ROTC. And yeah, so then I'll be passing off to Cadet Benson.
All right, so bringing it back a bit, when we talk about building the next set of lieutenants, building the next set of Air Force officers, what does that really entail, right? You know, talk about the team, right? Never do anything without other people, never do anything without really consulting a team, right? So that really comes down to an ROTC, just building the joint force, right? We do a lot of events, we plan a lot of different activities for us that the Navy ROTC, the Army ROTC, and ourselves participate in. One of the major ones that you can see at any football game is us presenting the colors at right when the marching band is on the field, right? Fantastic experience, honestly, I love it, and just constantly working with like the members of the different services here, just kind of overcoming those like cultural differences, overcoming those what people prioritize as a midshipman, as a Marine Corps cadet, or Army cadet, right? It's honestly something that's I've been learning a lot more in this program as well. Other aspects are the military ball, getting together, all of our sisters and brothers here, just to come and have a meal and just talk, converse, and try and get to know each other, right? That's been a truly fantastic experience, and we have that at least once a year, right? In the Michigan Ballroom, very grateful for that as well. Sports tournaments too, playing basketball against each other, football, all these different little games that we try to prove that Air Force is the best, in all aspects. So one of the major events too is what we call coordinated under special events. Next slide. All right, that's our Normandy Senior Staff Ride, right? We are one of the only detachments in the United States that sends their seniors off to learn about military history and learn about basically the innovation and the just basically other aspects of just being a military officer in another country, right? In another location, right? So we had the gracious opportunity of going to northern France this past spring break and really just seeing how, what is the largest amphibious operation ever conducted? How did that turn out, and how did some of the junior officers there, the company grade officers, really react and really plan for this great monumental excursion here, right? A little bit about what we did. Again, we went for the 80th anniversary of Normandy. Truly special to see all these different organizations kind of planning for the upcoming month of June, right? Stayed in Bayou, and we spent a week of going to the American 70 at Omaha Beach. We had the truly gracious opportunity of raising the flag, raising both flags over the cemetery there as well. Again, we saw all these beaches here, and truly memorable to see, Point du Hoc, truly memorable to see Omaha Beach, Gold, Juno Sword, and all the other places where we built mulberry harbors and talked about all these different innovations that the Americans and the Allied forces had to overcome, had to bring it up to the to overcome all these obstacles here. Fantastic opportunity. So, right. Next part.
So we got 4 seniors here. We got 4 slides. Critical part of the staff ride that it could not have been the same without was Colonel Corey Holland. He is a PhD teaching at Air War College down in Alabama, and he is such a nerd for this stuff, and it could not have been the same without him. He taught we would teach these stories, right, of the storming in such an impactful way. With his expertise, he guided us through what our preparation materials needed to be, and was just ready for us to be in the moment. Extrapolating the leadership lessons from something that happened 80 years ago to how he operated in an F-15 to how we can operate as lieutenants who will be working in an office. It could not have been the same without him. And part of our prep work was the Air Force and Navy ROTC senior classes took the staff ride together. So we didn't do it with the Army because they kind of looked at Normandy much more at a tactical, what were the people on the ground doing, and we kind of looked at it with a broader brush. What was the Army Air Forces doing? What was the Navy doing? What was the Army doing? And how does the interplay of joint operations work? And our joint operations were taking 2 different themes and then sharing them on the spot. So the Air Force senior class was working on innovation. So the M1 Garand revolutionizing rifle warfare since World War I. That gun kept being in use till I think through Vietnam. The Mulberry Harbor, how do we do a deep water invasion when we're not comfortable getting a deep water port? We just make one. And every step of the way, what did we do? We had gliders to drop equipment behind enemy lines the day before the invasion, right? And our side of things was, how did we use tools to change warfare just for that event? And the Navy side of it was ethics, decision making. How do you make decisions in relation to the oath of office? Do you torture prisoners of war? And then we got to be on site and swap those different themes in the moment under the guidance of a historical expert on the subject matter material. So,
So outside of the historical piece and learning about what actually happened, the historical events, we also got a chance to experience Northern French culture. And I think it's very special and impactful to see with our own 2 eyes part of the culture that we helped save and preserve 80 years ago with the invasion of Europe, with the invasion of Normandy. So throughout the day, we'd start our day at about 8 a.m. and do all of our academic stuff, which was awesome. But then afterwards, they would turn us loose. We stayed in Bayou, which is home to the Bayou Tapestry. It's like a 1,000-year-old, 750-foot long tapestry. Any history nerds would appreciate that. We also got to take a train to Cannes, which is a city nearby, and experience some of the culture there. Other than that, we went to Paris on our last night, which is a beautiful city for tourism. It's great to see the history and the culture there. And talking a little bit more on the tri-service piece, our tri-service assignment was to hang out with each other and get to know each other better. I think throughout the 3 years I've been in AFROTC, I've had a lot of great opportunities to hang out with my counterparts from the Navy and from the Army, but this was a very special opportunity to get to talk to our Navy counterparts, the kids from the other side of the tracks. How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they think? How do they operate? And I think that as we go off into the bigger military, we're going to be working in joint environments. So it's experiences like this that are really valuable in teaching us how to talk to people from outside of our own camp, outside of what we know in Air Force, because we're going to have to interact with people from the Navy, from the Army, from all the different branches.
So, just before I get into this piece, I'd like to talk about this photo here. This photo represents our experiences on the beach. And it's not just what it seems. It's not just what it seems. We aren't just talking about what happened. We're talking about the stories, the sacrifices, the courage that it took to make Normandy and D-Day possible. We want to keep those memories alive, the memories of the courage, the sacrifice of Americans fighting against evil. And it was truly impactful, and we hope to keep those memories alive. So, how are we funding this? So the past couple of years and next year, the University of Michigan has graciously partially funded our trip to Normandy. However, after next year, that funding is gone. We are working hard to ensure that future generations of cadets will have the opportunity to go to Normandy, to experience the stories, to experience what it was like, at least a little bit of a taste of what it was like to be there. Obviously, we're going to work hard at fundraising, but if you choose to add to that, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Funding the next generation of cadets to experience this is our goal, because we want these memories to stay alive.
My turn. All right, aren't these cadets wonderful? Yeah, I'm really proud of these guys. They've had a tough time going through college. It's been tough to balance their priorities of school, of the extracurriculars, of ROTC, of a part-time job. It's not easy, and they've done a great job. They've had some failures. They've learned from those failures, but what's been great is been able to celebrate your all success. And 4 of you guys are going to go commission into the Air Force and the Space Force, and I'm really proud of what you guys have been able to do. This is great. Congratulations, guys. So this is a little taste of how we build leaders of character and prepare lieutenants, right, into this profession of arms. And what the Air Force has a lot to do with this. We get very little bit of funding from the Air Force. Most of our funding actually comes from the university. So for us to continue to bring these cadets, the seniors, out to Normandy to experience what was the largest joint amphibious warfare like, to be on the dirt, to be in the sand, and to hear from those historical leaders is just amazing. So we can't do it without support from you guys. So appreciate the partnership, appreciate the support, and that's what we got. So we're going to open for questions. Whatever you guys got for us, let us know.
Sir, the Instagram.
Oh yeah, I forgot. So to connect with us, QR codes are easy. You can put your phones up against that QR code, and you can connect with us across the Instagram. We're posting at least once a week, and often a couple of times a week, of our activities. So connect with us across the social medias. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, well that's what we got. We're open for questions. Whatever you guys got. Sir.
Besides Owen, how many other cadets are speaking a different language?
Many.
What language?
French, Turkish. We have a student studying Russian, Spanish. Yeah, several of us. Yes, sir.
So how does this get funded? I mean, as a parent, am I still going to be paying for my kid to go to Air Force, ROTC?
So the scholarship tuition-wise, if you're on scholarship, that will pay for the tuition, but that does not necessarily pay for your room and board. That's why a lot of cadets still have to have that part-time job. So it'll cover the tuition, it'll cover some books, it'll cover like a monthly stipend, but that's only a couple $100 a month there. And then all the other extracurriculars that we do, like on Tuesday, we're going to go to Selfridge and tour the base. We're going to talk to some A-10 pilots, some intel, and we're going to tour the maintenance facilities and go see some KC-135s. We're going to have lunch out there too. That lunch isn't funded. That's kind of on your own. We're going to go to Andrews Air Force Base later on in end of April, and that is all university and cadet funded. So a bunch of our activities are self-funded, but the tuition itself is funded through the Air Force, if you're on scholarship. Yes, sir.
Have you seen the sculpture over on Omaha Beach called La Brave?
There's a lot of sculptures there.
Yeah, this one's actually on the beach. You want me to say it into the mic?
Yeah.
So it's a half scale, right? By the same
No,
sculpture.
it's a full scale.
Full scale at the Grosse Pointe War Memorial right on the shores of Lake St.
Only
Clair.
copy in the world.
So they came over and did a big dedication last year.
Yeah.
To get my time right. It's right on the beach of here in Michigan. So you can actually go see the exact same sculpture that's on the beach in Normandy.
Wow, awesome. I've not been there. Great questions. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, partial question, partial not. So you mentioned the other day, I don't know. Oh, okay. You mentioned the other day that you have trouble getting enough students to apply for the high school version of your scholarship.
High school scholarship, yes, ma'am.
When is that given out, and how do you apply for it?
So there's 2 times a year where the board meets to give out those high school scholarships. Honestly, when high school juniors towards the end of their year is really when that starts. That'll go all the way through to really December of their high school year. We conduct interviews really up until then. Wherever they are across the country, they'll go to an ROTC, and it could be an Air Force or an Army even. They will put that information that the interview is conducted in wings. It all goes to the board, and then they get to decide across the board. But it starts your junior year, towards the end of your junior year in high school is when that starts.
All right, you mentioned next year the funding's running out from the university. First question is, how do we get that reinstated by the university to get that funding going again? What can any of us do to help? The second question is, how can anybody else in this room help the cause of keeping the cadets going with everything they're doing right now? Because sometimes you have a need, but not knowing how to help is even a bigger problem, because, I mean, do I give you $5 or something? I mean, you need serious money on this. To answer the first question, followed by the second, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. So we appeal to the university. The Army has actually been going to Normandy for years as part of their program. 3 years ago, the Air Force and the Navy appealed to our Vice Provost, and there's a whole process of how to request funding. And the Vice Provost and the President were gracious enough to give us what they called seed money. They give us 3 years, right? Go prove how awesome this program is, have the cadet testimonials come back, and then you're kind of on your own. You got to figure out how to get the donor support, how to do your own fundraising. We're doing things like we're preparing the tennis courts for the tournaments coming up. We've sent cadets out to the gymnastics to set up that, to prepare that for tournaments. We've removed fridges out of the dorms just to do our own kind of fundraising. So we're willing to do some of the work. So if you have work that needs to be done and you're willing to donate to our program, and there was on our slide there's a website on there, and the QR code will take you to where to donate to our strategic fund. So we're willing. We got to work. We're happy to do that. So I think that answers the first question. We'll remember the second question again.
I gotta remember it now.
Yeah.
What was it?
How
can you help to the overall cause of the cadets?
So again, kind of same thing. Straight up donating is great. We love to get that kind of support, but we're also willing to work for it. So there's things that we can do for you. Help some of the cadets with part-time jobs would be great. They got to balance that. Or as a whole organization, if there's things that we can do to help support you to fund our organization, that's probably the best way to do it. Hopefully that answers it. Yes, ma'am.
When you said you're going to Selfridge next week?
Tuesday.
Maybe talk to the people at the air show, who are planning the air show. What could you do at the air show to raise money?
So we're absolutely doing that.
There she is, right back there. All right, you don't have to go far. She's involved with the air show planning. Kim Wager.
Yes,
All right, there you go.
Yeah, so talk to her.
So we are looking to do that. So the challenge we have as a part of the university is, as summer happens, cadets go home. So our university program, ROTC, is really slim through the summertime. We got a sign-up sheet. We're trying to get something together so we can go help out at the concessions or something at the air show. So that is a way we're trying to get out and do our own fundraising as well.
Corporate sponsorships, grants. I can come up with all sorts of ideas that maybe you all can help with.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mike Sand from Chapter 9 Vietnam Veterans of America. In our last meeting, we allocated money towards scholarships. We donated tens of thousands of dollars to Detroit Junior ROTC Cadets.
Awesome.
The Van Dyke Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol meets at our 5th W post here in Fraser. And I'd like to talk to you about how we can help.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Thank you for the support.
Last question, if anybody has a last question. Who's got it?
You.
I don't, thank you.
You always have a question.
Well, I do, but I'll have plenty of time. I do want to say, by the way, 5 minutes after we're done, we're going to go take a picture. Everybody on the executive committee of AFA, all the cadets, and anybody from Mission Barbecue, we're going to go take a picture out next to the truck, just in case I don't say that again, all right? So plan accordingly. We're all going to go out and take a nice photo. But any last questions from anybody? Jim?
So how's recruiting and staffing? So right now, I'm in the Navy Sierra Space, DC. I'll see the Commandant, the General of the Air Force. Well, no, I want to see him. I'll see. But staffing in the services, Army, Air Force, Navy, is a challenge. And so are you seeing a challenge for your Air Force ROTC?
That's a really big question. I can't answer it for the Air Force writ
I will
large.
after you answer ROTC.
Roger.
I'm
Yes, sir.
asking about your program.
So our program, we're 100% manned. We're fully staffed. What that means is we have five cadres, so 3 officers and 2 enlisted. And that is about right for the amount of cadets that we have. We're a small detachment with between 50 and 60 cadets. That's considered 100% staff. But I can tell you though, also, the Army with only about 10 more cadets than we has twice as many staff. The Navy with almost as many cadets as we have has twice as much staff. So we're half the staff versus the Army and the Navy at our same detachment. But the Air Force says we're 100% manned.
Leaner, better, faster. Hoorah. All right, thank you. To answer the other half of the question, in the Air Force, we're actually the best of the services, but still fighting that shortfall in recruiting. As part of that effort, the Air Force has approached the AFA. There's actually a working group that's going on. They asked me to be a part of it, but honestly, I'm going to do my best to hand the baton over here to our chief, who's joining our team from up in the Lapeer area, who has a passion on the idea of recruiting to help out the Air Force. But that's actually an AFA nationwide partnership with the Air Force right now, pushing on the help with recruiting. It's a problem across the board, but like I said, with the Air and Space Forces, they're actually doing better than the other services right now. Okay. All right, and with our customary, we always like to give our guest speakers a big damn bullet, all right? Out of the 30 millimeter and everything, Air and Space Forces Association, so they can put that in a display case and all there. So